Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today, inshallah, we'll talk about topic number 9 in your syllabus. As you know, your syllabus consists of 14 topic. And we finished together topic 14 before, which was about 40% of your syllabus in IGCSE system, organic chemistry. Okay, so you have to revise it again. You have to solve classified past paper. And if you have any question, you have to contact with me directly. Today, inshallah, we'll talk about topic number 9, which is called periodic table. Periodic table. Topic number 9 is periodic table. As you know, periodic table, this is periodic table, as you see here on the screen. Periodic table consists of column and row. We call these columns, you can see columns, okay, as groups. And actually periodic table consists of 18 group and 7 row. So hydrogen alone here, okay, in row number 1, which is called period. So I have 18 group, vertical lines, 18 groups, and 7 periods. But you have to be aware about number of periods. Hydrogen alone here, hydrogen in period number 1, hydrogen and helium. Hydrogen and helium in period number 1. Starting from lithium, beryllium is number 2 and 3. After that 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 period. Because there are many questions about number of period and number of groups in the periodic table. Sometimes we asking you about element exist here. Okay, about calcium, for example. So we will bring for you blank periodic table, and we'll put here, for example, X. And we'll ask you about X. Element X, which is calcium here, exists in which period and exists in which group. So I will give a chance to Muhammad Duri to give me calcium here, exists in which period and exists in which group. To know exists in which period, you have to count from hydrogen. Hydrogen period number 1, here period number 2, 3, and so on. The groups, vertical lines. I am asking about calcium in which period and in which group. So I will give you a chance to talk now. Okay, Hamad Duri, I'm asking about calcium, in which group and which period? What? Raise your voice. Loudly.
Okay, sorry.
Calcium in which?
It's in
yeah.
Group 4.
In group number, yes, in period number 4, because here 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, in period number 4 and
group number 2.
And group number 2. Thank you. So calcium here in period number 4 and group number 2. My question to Muhammad Duri. To Muhammad Jundi. I'm asking about cesium. Cesium here in which group and which period? Cesium.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Cesium here.
Period number 5.
Period number 5? No.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No. How come? Period number 1, it's hydrogen. Here 1. Attention with me. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. This is cesium. So cesium exists in group.
It's hydrogen.
Yeah. Don't forget hydrogen because this is a common mistake. In Cambridge, from Cambridge Examiner, okay, sometimes we are reading some reports from Cambridge Examiners. Common mistake. Most of the students forget to count hydrogen as a period number 1. And they start to count periods from lithium. This is not correct. Actually, you have to count period from hydrogen. You have to count from hydrogen. Hydrogen and helium in period number 1, lithium 2, sodium in period number 3, potassium number 4, rubidium in number 5, cesium in number 6, and francium in number 7. So you have to be aware
So how do
about
you find the group number?
hydrogen. What?
How do you find the group number?
How do you find the group number? Actually, we have two different kind of equation, or have two different kind of idea. Number one, will bring for you copy of the periodic table like this copy, and I will ask you, for example, about barium here. So you have to look to the periodic table and you have to detect, oh, this is group number 2. This is barium, okay? Or cesium. This is group number 1. And if you need to find period number, you have to look also in the horizontal or in the horizontal rows here. You have to detect from it. But sometimes we are asking you to detect group number and period number from atomic structure, without periodic table, for example, if I am asking about the position of sodium in which group and in which period, how can you define or how can you detect the position of sodium in which group and in which period? I will ask you a question, Muhammad Jundi.
Yes.
Can you give me electronic structure of sodium? And number of electrons in sodium is 11. Can you give me electronic structure? It will be 2. What?
2, 8,
Yes.
1.
1, 2, 8, 1. How many electron in outermost shell? How many electron?
1.
1. So it's in group number 1. In group number 1. What does it mean? Number of electrons in outermost shell, it indicates group number. A group number. Okay, let's talk about calcium. 20. Can you give me electronic configuration of calcium? 20. It will be 2.
2, 8,
Yes.
8, 2.
Yes.
2, 8, 8, 2.
2. So number of electrons in outermost shell. How many electrons?
2.
2. What does it mean? In group number?
Okay, the group number is 2.
In group number 2. So if you check here on the periodic table, yeah, it's true. You will find calcium here in a group number 2, as you see here. Look, calcium in a group number 2. So I can define or I can detect the place of element in the periodic table by two methods. The first one directly from the copy of the periodic table or from electronic configuration of elements. So this is about what? This is about group number. So what about
Alhamdulillah.
So what about period number? What about period number? In period number, you have to count how many shell you have. So let's start with sodium. Again, my question now to Muhammad Dori. Can you give me electronic configuration for sodium? Muhammad Dori?
Yes, sir.
Sodium 11. Give me electronic configuration for it. It will be 2.
2.
Yes.
2, 7.
No.
2.
No.
It's 11. 11. 2, 8.
8.
Yes.
8, 1. 2, 8,
1. 2, 8, 1. So how many shell you have? How many orbits?
3.
3. So in period number 3. Sodium in
Yes.
period number 3. Let's check in the periodic table. Here, period number 1, hydrogen. Period number 2 is lithium. Oh my God, actually, sodium in period number 3. Sodium in period number 3. Also, my question to Muhammad or Muhammad Durri also. I'm asking about calcium. Can you give me calcium 19? Can you give me 19 exactly? Can you give me electronic configuration for no potassium, not calcium. I'm asking about
2,
potassium. Yes, 19, 2,
8,
8,
8, 1.
8, 1, 2, 8, 8, 1. Okay, how many orbits?
4.
4. What does it mean in period number?
4.
In period number 4, let's
4.
check. Let's check. Oh, here potassium. Period number 1, period number 2, period number 3, and here in period number 4. Actually, in period number 4. So, what I have to say, number of periods or number of shells. This give you indication about the number of period and the number of electrons in outermost shell. Number of electrons in outermost shell. This is a group number. This is a group number. It's clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
يا مستر
Yes.
أنا
You have...
سمعت خبر إنه امتحانات لغت.
No.
صحيح؟
Now, listen to me. Now let's focus about our lesson. Don't ask me about anything outside the lesson. Okay. After we have finished our session, you ask me as well. Okay.
Okay.
Clear, boys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now we have to study. We have to do our job. Even if for you as a grade 9, even if there is no exam for grade 9, you know you are in IG system. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
We still have to study.
Yeah, you still have to study. Even in vacation, you have to study. So I'm saying always grade 9 is totally different from other grades. You have to focus with me here. In topic number 9, in the periodic table, we will study the following. We will study group number 1, group number 7, group number 8, and the transition elements. Again, we will study group number 1. Group number 1, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. We will study it. Then we will study group number 7, which is called halogen. Then we will study noble gases and the transition elements. Let's start with periodic trends. What does it mean, periodic trends? The metallic character of the element decreases as you move across a period on the periodic table from left to right. What does it mean? What does it mean? If you move here from left to right of the periodic table, as you see, metallic character will decrease. What does it mean, decrease? Here, metalloids, non-metal. So I start from left to right. I start from metal, then semi-metal, then finally non-metal. So if you move from left to right on the periodic table, metallic character will decrease. So this is called pattern. Okay. There are a trend in properties down group and cross period. If you move here, for example, in group number 1, from hydrogen to francium, hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and francium. If you move down, what about trend? What about properties? What does it mean? If you move down, what about reactivity? Reactivity decrease or reactivity increase. We will know. We will study this and we will know. If you move down across the period, what about reactivity? What about melting point? What about density? Okay, so you have to be aware about this. This is about trend. This is about what? Trend. Okay. Properties of metal and non-metals. You know properties of metal and non-metal. Muhammad Jundi, can you tell me properties of metal alone?
Metals.
Yes.
Hard. Shiny. Conduct electricity. Conduct heat too. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, what else? Malleable and ductile. You remember? Malleable and ductile.
What does it mean?
Malleable and ductile. This is very, very important, especially in paper number 4. because there are many questions about malleable and ductile. Malleable and ductile. Malleable, what does it mean?
What?
Can
I
be
don't know.
hammered into different shape without cracking. Ductile can be drawn into wires.
Words.
Yeah, so that if I ask you about it, for example, about copper, give me the reason why we are making wire of electrical conductors from copper, because copper is
Ductile.
Yes, ductile can be drawn into wires. About conductivity, which one conduct heat and electricity, metal or non-metal? Mohammed Dori, which one
Metal.
conduct? Dori, where's Dori?
Oh.
Here, sir.
Yeah, which one conduct heat and electricity, metal or non-metal?
Metal.
Yes, metal. Excellent. Which one is solid, metal or non-metal? Which one is
Metal.
solid? Metal. Metal is solid. Yes. Okay. As you see here, if I am asking about chlorine is 17. So in electronic configuration, it will be 287, as you see here. Number of electron in outermost shell is 7 electron. So chlorine in group number, Jondi, in group number?
7.
7.
7.
And I have 3 shells here, or 3 orbits.
Period number 3.
So in period number 3, as you see here, the copy of the periodic table. But I need to say something about hydrogen. Sometimes you will find hydrogen here in the middle of the periodic table. Sometimes you will find hydrogen with the group number 1. Some copy of periodic table, you will find hydrogen here on the right. Okay, it's clear for you. So sometimes in IGCSE exam, they bring copy for you, hydrogen in the middle. Sometimes hydrogen here on the left, sometimes hydrogen on the right. So there is no problem about the position of hydrogen in the periodic table. There is no specific position for hydrogen in the periodic table. Okay? Okay, boys?
Yes, okay.
Yes, sir.
What about elements which exist in the same group in the periodic table? Elements which exist in the same group of the periodic table have the same chemical properties. Chemical properties of lithium, exactly like chemical properties of sodium, exactly like chemical properties of potassium, of rubidium, and so on. Chemical properties of beryllium, like chemical properties of magnesium, like chemical properties of calcium. Chemical properties of hydrogen, like chemical properties of neon, like of argon. I need to say chemical properties of elements which exist in the same group, the same chemical properties. Okay, why? What is the reason? Because
it has the same group number.
Because they have the same number of electrons in outermost shell. Okay, for example, sodium. Mohammed Jundi, sodium. Can you tell me electronic configuration of sodium? Sodium 11, it will be
281.
281. 281. How many electrons in outermost shell? 1.
1.
Yes. Potassium?
Yes.
Potassium 19. Say 2.
2881.
1. Also 1. Lithium is 3. It will be 2.
1.
1. What you noticed here, in lithium, in outermost shell, there is 1 electron. In sodium, there is 1 electron. In potassium, also there is 1 electron. So that these elements have the same number. These elements have the same number of electrons. Have the same number of electrons. Okay. So if I ask a question to Mohammed Duri, elements which,
Yeah.
which exist in the same group have the same chemical properties. Why?
Why?
Oh,
Because they're in the same because they're in the same periodic group. Because
Yeah,
they're in the same group.
yeah, already it exists in the same group, but why?
because it has the same outer shell
Yeah,
number.
because it has the
Yes,
same most outer shell.
yes, because they have the same number of electron in outermost
Shell.
shell, in outermost shell. Okay, you
Okay.
can see here the similarity in the chemical properties stems from having the same
Same
number of electrons in their outermost shell. And I give you evidence about lithium in outermost shell 1 electron, sodium 1 electron, potassium 1 electron. If you check with any element in the same group, you will find the same number of electrons in outermost shell. Okay? For example, both lithium and sodium are in group number 1, lithium and sodium in group number 1, and can react with elements in group number 7 to form ionic compound because they have the same number of electrons in outermost shell. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Group 1 metals, group number 1 metals. Actually, group number 1, this is group number 1, is called alkali metals. Alkali metals. So if I ask you, what are alkali metals in the periodic table? Elements which exist in group number 2. Is this correct? Alkali metals, group number 1 or 2?
One.
Yes,
Two, one,
excellent. 1.
one,
Yeah,
one.
okay. They are all contains just 1 electron in their outermost shell. 1 electron in outermost shell. Physical property, all these elements are soft, have shiny surface, conduct heat and electricity. They have low melting points and low density. Low melting point and low density.
Yes.
Okay, these are physical properties. Physical
Property.
properties. So what about the reactions of group number 1? They react really with oxygen and water vapor in air, so they usually kept under oil to stop them from reaction. If you see sodium before, you will find sodium under kerosene. Sodium under kerosene. We cannot put sodium in air. Why? Because sodium is very reactive metal. If you put in air, sodium will react with vapor of air, water vapor, okay, and will give you fire. Yes, excellent. Yeah, exactly. So that we put these elements where under
Under oil
why
to
to stop from
stop resting,
reacting, not rusting,
reacting.
reacting. The group number 1 metals will react similarly with water, reacting vigorously to produce an alkaline metal hydroxide and hydrogen. For example, what does it mean? Lithium, when react with water, will form lithium hydroxide and hydrogen. Lithium hydroxide and hydrogen. Sodium, when react with water, form what? Huh? The same, sodium hydroxide
Water
and hydrogen.
and hydrogen.
And hydrogen. Potassium will form what? Potassium, huh?
Potassium hydrogen and water.
Potassium hydroxide
Hydroxide and
Potassium
hydrogen.
hydroxide.
and
Hydrogen.
hydrogen. Rubidium, huh?
Rubidium
Cellulite.
hydroxide and hydrogen.
And hydrogen, yes. So these elements, when react with water, will form hydroxide plus hydrogen. Lithium hydroxide plus hydrogen, sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen, potassium hydroxide plus hydrogen. Sometimes there is a question about test for hydrogen gas. Test for hydrogen gas. This is in paper number 6 in IGCSE exam. If you need to make a test for hydrogen gas by using lighted splint, what will happen if there is oxygen gas? Will give pop sound, squeaky pop sound.
Lighted blend.
Yeah, lighted splint, and the result, squeaky pop sound.
Pop sound.
This is a common question in IG exam. Test for hydrogen, lighted splint. Observation, squeaky pop sound, squeaky pop sound. So I will ask Muhammad al-Durri, what is the gas produced when potassium react with water? What is the gas? When potassium react with water?
Speaky hot glass.
No, potassium react with water.
Potassium hydroxide plus
Potassium
plus hydrogen.
hydroxide, hydrogen.
Yeah, I am asking about the gas only. I'm not asking about the whole equation. What is the
Potassium
gas?
hydroxide.
The gas.
Potassium hydroxide.
Hydrogen.
No, potassium hydroxide, this is not a gas. Potassium hydroxide, this is alkaline solution.
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen is a gas. Yeah, Muhammad Jundi. Potassium with water. Potassium with water will form potassium hydroxide. Potassium hydroxide is a solution. And hydrogen,
Okay.
this is a gas. Hydrogen, this is a gas. What is the test for this gas?
What?
Lighted
Lighted splint
splint.
plus pop sound.
Yes, the result is squeaky pop sound. Okay. As you see here, lithium react with water to form lithium hydroxide and hydrogen. Sodium with water, sodium hydroxide to NaOH plus H2, also hydrogen. Potassium with water, potassium hydroxide and hydrogen. This is the gas. Hydrogen is the gas. Okay.
Okay.
As you see here, lithium in outermost shell there is 1 electron. Sodium also here 1 electron. Potassium also here 1 electron. So that these elements have the same chemical properties, because these elements have the same number of electrons in outermost shell. In lithium 1, potassium 1, sodium 1. So what about the trend in group number 1? What about the trend in group number 1?
Reactive.
Yes, they are very reactive. Okay.
And they all have the same, and they all have 1 electron.
This is a property
in the most outer shell.
This property, yes.
By going down, what about number of shells? By going down, number of shells will increase. So in group number 1, by going down, softness increase, density increase, reactivity increase. Attention, put in your mind. By going down in group number 1, by going down from lithium to cesium down, because of francium radioactive element. From lithium to cesium, by going down, softness increase, density increase, melting reactivity increase, and melting point decrease. So 3 property increase and 1 property decrease. Okay, so this is about group number 1. Next session, inshallah, we will talk about group number
7.
Thank you for listening.
You're welcome.